So for 52 through 59, there's a list of properties that you would have to know in order to answer the questions. The first property is identity property of addition, which is saying when you add 0 to any number, you still keep that number, or it stays the same. So the example is 5 plus 0 is 5. It will never be anything other than the number that you add to 0. Identity property of multiplication is just saying the same thing, but in multiplication terms, 3 times 1, that's the only number you can multiply it by to get 3 again, or the same number that you started with. Zero product property of multiplication, 4 times 0 is 0. Multiply any number by 0, you'll still get 0. Inverse property of addition, 1 minus 0 is 0. Or you can think about it as 1 plus negative 1 is 0. Since it says inverse property of addition, it means the same thing. Inverse property of multiplication is taking inverses and multiplying them, you always get 1. So 1/2 times 2 over 1, or 1/3 times 3 over 1, they all give you 1. And then distributive property, you multiply the 3 times the x and the 3 times the 3 to get the 3x plus 9. There's also 2 commutative properties that you need to know. There's commutative property of addition and then of multiplication, and I put 2 examples. For addition, you have a plus b is b plus a. In terms of numbers, that's 3 plus 4, which you know is 7, and then that's also equal to 4 plus 3, which you also know is 7. And then of multiplication, it's a times b is the same as b times a, or in this case 3 times 4 you know is 12, as well as if you multiplied 4 first times 3 is also 12. So the last 2 properties you need to know are the associative properties. They have of addition and multiplication just like the commutative. So of addition, it says that a plus b first added and then adding c is the same as if you add b plus c first and then you add a. So looking at the first example, with the numbers, 3 plus 4 gives you 7, and then if you add 6 to that, you get 13. Looking at the second set, order of operations, you do 4 plus 6 is 10, then plus 3, you still get 13. So it doesn't matter the order of the addition. Then the same thing with the multiplication. First, you would multiply 3 times 4, which you get 12, and then 12 times 6 is 72. Looking at the other side, it doesn't matter if you multiply the 4 times the 6 first, because 24 then times 3 is again 72. So I kind of half-lied on the last slide. These are actually the 2 properties that are also on there. They have addition property of equality, but you've seen it plenty of times. If you look at 3x minus 7 is equal to 9, in order to get 3x is equal to 15, they added the same number on both sides of the equal sign. So that's addition property of equality. When you add 7 to the 9, you get 3x is equal to 15, and it cancels on the left. Also, subtraction property of equality. 2x plus 4 is equal to 8. In order to get the 4 to the other side and it to look like 2x is equal to 4, you'd subtract 4 from both sides. It would cancel on the left, and you put it on the right, and you get the 2x is equal to 4. So that would be then the subtraction property of equality. Okay, so now actually reading through the questions, these are the answers that you should have gotten. 52 should have been B, because which property is demonstrated by the given equation? T plus 0 is T, and that's the identity property of addition, because if you add 0 to any number, it will always be itself, so that's why T plus 0 is T. 53, which property is demonstrated by the given equation? They distributed that 4 to the q and to the 1, so then they got 4q plus 4, so that's distributive property, which was D. 54, which property is demonstrated by the given equation? So they have f plus g is the same as g plus f, so that's commutative property of addition. That should have been B. So again, you can add in any order. 55, it says which property is demonstrated by the given equation? R times 1 is equal to R. So that's actually the identity property of multiplication. You multiply any number by 1, it's always going to be itself or keep its identity. So again, 55 should have been C. 56 should have been A. Which property is demonstrated by the given equation? 4 plus 3 is first in parentheses, which would give you 7, and then plus 5 is 12. And then if you look in the other order, they move the parentheses. 3 plus 5 is going to give you 8, plus 4 again gives you 12. So moving the parentheses is associative property, and then it's of addition because they were adding there. 57, Victor's solution to an equation is shown below. Which property of real numbers did Victor use for step 1? So from the given information to step 1, he distributed the 3 to the x and the 5. So that's how we got the 3x plus 15 in the given step to the first step. So that's why it was C. Victor's solution to an equation is shown below. Which property of real numbers did Victor use for step 3? So that means from step 2 to step 3, what did he do? And in order to get the 3x that's 15 on here, he subtracted 21 from both sides. So that's why it's subtraction property of equality, which was C. And then 59. Okay, so then for number 59, it says Victoria's solution to an equation shown below, which property of real numbers to Victoria's are used for step 2. So then from step 1 to step 2, she split it up and set them equal to 0. And that's because either one of those can be 0 in order to get 0 on the right side of the equal sign. So that's going to be the 0 product property of multiplication, which is B. And then 60 is actually a different type of question. It says the product of two numbers x and y, product means multiplication, so you can already rule out C since there was no multiplication, is 2 more than their sum. So that means x and y need to be added together, and then you also need to add 2 to that. So the only one that has that as an answer would be B, so that's why 60 should have been B.